Hey y'all, Stacy here with my warm reviews of the 2025 holiday collection. I did have the opportunity to melt each of these scents in multiple locations across multiple days. I have a lot of thoughts to share with you and excited to get into it. As a quick reminder, I do use mostly 25 watt and up Scentsy warmers as I am a Scentsy consultant and my warmers are on for about 15 hours a day. Also, I think this collection launches October 1st. I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so we can stay in touch. Scentsy typically launches 2 holiday 5-bar bundles. One is the Scents of the Season, which I've reviewed already, and I'll put a tag up for that collection. And then there's this collection, which is the holiday collection. And I always like to start looking at the bag. And to be honest, this is just it's a structurally sound bag, but it's a little bit bland and it's not my favorite bag. It does fit the 5 bars that it comes in. It doesn't seem very reusable. It's definitely not themed to the collection. It's just a little bland for me. But let's talk about the wax. This first bar is caramel macadamia nut, and it had the highest hill to climb in my house. We usually all sit down and sniff through collections and decide which bars can go in primary spaces, and exactly 0 people pick to have this in like their primary personal space. So this was a bar that I got to melting right away. The first melt location I selected for it was my closed concept living, and it really surprised me the way this evolved. Now, it lists with caramelized sugar, creamy tonka, and toasted macadamia nut. And I think what surprised me most was the spicy nature of the toasted macadamia nut because I really didn't pick that up on cold sniff. I will say it took about 30 minutes for this bar to really fill my closed concept living, and the same was true in my second location, which was my kitchen. But when it did, it was this beautiful vanilla caramel scent that presents very much in the way that Vanilla Waves does to me. And that's a scent that I very much enjoy. This bar does not lean as body care as Vanilla Waves does, but it's just a beautiful light caramel scent. What was the surprise of this bar to me is though right around the 2 to 3 hour mark, there is a dominant spice note that joins the mix. And that spice note remains a feature throughout the entire melting. It did last a day and a half for me in both locations, and it's a beautiful fragrance. I just do think this is a spice bar. It's like a cardamom or an anise. It's a very rich spice fragrance, and you don't lose the vanilla caramel, but I do feel like the dominant note that I experienced in both locations, really from about that 3 hour mark all the way through, is a truly spicy spice bar. So, something to be aware of. Now we come to the bar that got my side eye from the moment I saw it in the collection. I couldn't figure out why it was called Jingle Bell Blooms. It's got jasmine in it, musk, and I believe crisp air. It is a beautiful green wax, but it just didn't seem on the surface or on cold sniff like a very festive sort of fragrance. Particularly on cold, for me, the heavy floral jasmine note is primarily what I picked up. Now, when I started melting this, I melted it first in my bedroom, then I melted it in my office and in my closed concept living, and performance was consistent in all of those locations. But when I first melted it, it took about an hour before I could smell the fragrance. I was a little bit relieved because I was doing this in my primary bedroom and I really struggle with florals. And I thought I am maybe going to have to change locations if this jasmine becomes really heady or it becomes a dominant floral. But the first hour, I picked up almost nothing. Then into the second hour, it bloomed and filled the space beautifully. And the crisp air is not sharp. The musk is this kind of neutralizing, cozy vibe. And the jasmine is present. It's definitely a floral that I would say leans fresh, but it is mellow. I was able to enjoy this the entire run in my bedroom, which is amazing to me as a floral. I do enjoy florals, but they can often be headache inducing, and this is not one of those bars for me. And I think it will be a nice kind of counterpoint and balance in a holiday season that tends to have heavier fragrances. Now, I will say that this bar does only last for one day and then it's gone, but it's a beautiful day. The next bar I have for you here is Snowden Flannel, and this was very popular when everybody in my home was smelling it. Everybody was happy to have this melted in their bedroom, and I think that is probably the dominant location that this will be popular in most people's homes. However, I will say I melted this in bedrooms and I also melted this in closed concept living, and it performed beautifully in both spaces. This lists with cozy cotton, sugared musk, white woods, and pink pepper. And this to me was room filling within 15 minutes. So the throw here is full and fast. I would say it is a nice medium throw with a medium intensity. The white woods is gorgeous. The cotton notes are not sharp, so they really are soft. And I understand that there's probably pink pepper in here, but I do believe that that's just providing, I think that may be what's kind of softening some of the edges. What I do want to point out about this scent in particular, it's not as dramatic of a shift as caramel macadamia nut, but the sugared musk is truly a sweet sugared type of scent. So this definitely is a whitewood scent. It's very cozy. You pick up the notes of the cotton and it is just beautiful. This bar, however, instead of giving me just one day, gave me two beautiful full days of a very cozy and enveloping scent. It's not heavy in the air. I do think it's important to note that sweetness because it surprised me a little bit, but the sweetness is not cloying. It dwells very much in the fresh space and it's clean, bright, welcoming, and cozy all at once. So this is one that we are definitely excited to have for the season. On to frosted eucalyptus. Now, this is one that on cold sniff leaned a little bit spa kind of body care to me. And it does not present as traditionally body care as I thought it would. In fact, I wouldn't call it a body care bar on Warm for me. I was able to melt this in my bedroom, my close concept living, and my kitchen, and performance was fairly consistent. This is a bar that evolves and changes. It stayed around for 2 days for me. The first day is dynamically different than the second, and so let's talk about it. Now, it lists with Scentssy's favorite ingredient lately bergamot, eucalyptus leaves, white sage, sandalwood, and I think that's it. In every location, this bar was room filling almost immediately on the first day, and it gave this beautiful frosted eucalyptus vibe. I think that describes it perfectly. To me, it is like it is cold wherever you are, and you maybe have your window open and you've brought in a eucalyptus wreath into your home, like a freshly made one. But it's a clean eucalyptus wreath. I don't pick up any kind of dirt or earthen notes at all the first or second day. Now, what I will say is this is a bar to me that in both my bedroom and my closed concept living left the space, like it headed into the adjacent spaces. When I put it into my kitchen, which holds onto scent a little tighter, it did not leave the space and waft into my open concept. So that is something to be aware of. It is, I think, a bar that can hold its own, and it performed really well on the first day. And on the second day, it was also a wonderful scent. I would say the intensity dialed back. The eucalyptus almost completely disappeared, and it was a bergamot forward scent. So it leaned a little bit citrus and melon on the second day, where it did not have that at all. And I believe that was the bergamot, but it was beautiful. It was like two bars in one, and I enjoyed it. Last but most certainly not least in my eyes is Festive Fruit Punch. Now, this lists with apple, orange, and raspberry. Yay! Those are some of my favorites. And it has oak barrel also listed in here. Now, what I will tell you is this is the strongest bar in my view. I melted this in my kitchen, my closed concept living, and my bedroom. And in all of those spaces, this scent left the area. So it's a nice medium. I would say it's like a strong, it's a medium to a medium strong. Now, I put just as few cubes as I can to start. I think if I loaded this bar up in a space, it would be a boomer. I have no doubt that it can manage my open concept because when I put it in my kitchen, it just leaked, it hopped right over into the open concept living that it adjoins with. It didn't fill the space all the way, but I would say I had nothing going in my open concept living at the time. And it got all the way to like midway through my open concept living where you could just smell this beautiful fragrance, and it wafted out of the bedrooms and the living closed concept living room as well. So this is just a beautiful fragrance to me. It is exactly what it presents as. What I will say is I expected the oak barrel to be more reminiscent of um, I don't know, kind of like that saturated wood fragrance. And I did not get that as much. For me, it presents more as a tree. Like this is not like an aged oak barrel to me. It is more like a freshly made oak barrel. So I feel like there are more present woody notes that peek out every now and then that are more like a fresh wood rather than an aged wood. But it's beautiful and it's definitely not tree forward. It's just like a hint every now and then that when I was walking into this space, I could really grab hold of it. This was hugely popular in my home and it went in every single space for 3 days. The third day, there was a little bit of a drop off, but it gets my top spot in this collection very easily. Now, the number 2 scent that I'm going to pick is going to be Snowden Flannel, just because I think it's beautiful, cozy, and sweet, and kind of perfect for bedrooms in the winter. And my third place finisher is going to be Frosted Eucalyptus, which is kind of surprising to me, but I really love that first day, and I love when a scent is different one day to the next. It's like a 2 for 1, and I enjoy that. Now, my fourth and fifth place, when I'm looking at both of these, when I look at caramel macadamia nut, I really enjoy the spiced nature of it, and I think it's very unique. Oh, so I kind of feel like I want to give it my fourth place finish. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to give it my fourth place finish for that reason. But Jingle Bell Blooms is not a fifth place finisher. It's a floral that I can enjoy in my bedroom. So I'm definitely going to be grabbing some more and I really enjoy it. In fact, I think these are all repurchases for me. I like this collection as a whole. I really am surprised by how much. The only dud in the bunch of this group, I really feel like is the bag itself. I'm not a fan of the bag. And I do think you need to be aware of, like with caramel macadamia nut, to me, that is a spice bar, and I don't see spice listed in the notes. But all of these are beautiful, and I do think very giftable. Even though I don't like the gift bag that they come in super much, it's not the worst bag, you guys. I'm just very particular when it comes to bags. But it's just, to me, I feel like there's something in here for everyone. The only surprise that I would say be aware of is maybe caramel macadamia nut if my experience is not unique. I haven't watched any other reviews yet, so I'm excited to hear how my thoughts line up with others, and I hope you do the same thing, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments below about what you think about this collection. Thank you guys so much for watching. Which of the collections are you most excited about? Let me know in the comments. I'll talk to you soon.